Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 3rd of January 2020. Welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, now then, just before we jump in, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So, yep, I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here for yourselves. Now then, let's jump into charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the German DAX. Now, I talked about this one this morning, and basically what I was saying, telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 13,225 zone. So we managed to have a nice drop below this. It drifted all the way down here towards the 13,140 and almost managed to reach the 105 area, but failed to do so, and the index managed to reach the area near the 13,120 area. So this is where it found support from which it rebounded, and now it's trying to make its way higher. The only problem here, now this previous area of support near the 13,225, now it could be seen as a good area of resistance. So first of all, of course, let's see how this is going to play out. If the bulls are able to push this one back above it, back above this level, if they're not, then yes, we will stick to the same idea where we will aim for the this upside support line taken from the lowest point of August, and around there the price could also meet the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So basically, long story short, guys, all eyes are on the 13,225 level. Again, this time it's playing the role of resistance. If it stays below this, then yes, there is a good likelihood that the index may drift to the downside again. But if it gets a push and we see a nice climb back above this level, then, well, again, this territory becomes a somewhat of a neutral one for us, because at this point in time, ideally, in order to consider higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above the 13,425-26 level here, and only then aim for further upside, because this way the index would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yes, these levels could be possible here. And the main one that we're going to be watching will be the 13,600 zone. So that's basically the all-time high for the German DAX. So keep your eyes on those, guys. Now, Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, yesterday we had a nice rally here to the upside, but of course the the U.S. Strikes on Baghdad's airport. Yep, it kind of brought it back down a little bit, brought it back to reality, and the price where the cash index is sitting at right now is roughly around the 28,600 mark. So basically where it started yesterday. So for now, the big question here is, can this actually reverse back to the upside? But to be honest, don't get me wrong, we are quite overextended here, even on the shorter time frame to the upside. So in a way, what we're going to do here is we're going to shift this upside line a little bit here and draw this tentative one, connecting the low of the 3rd of December and the low of the 31st of December. So this short-term tentative upside support line will be something that we'll keep an eye on, and if we do see a drop below this, then, well, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, interesting for the sellers, and one of the levels to keep an eye on, it will be this one right here near the 28,535 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. A drop below this, of course, would will mean that the index is already below this upside line, and yep, further declines could be possible. And initially we'll target the low of the 31st of December near the 28,376, but then further declines are possible if this fails to withhold. So keep your eyes on this one, guys, but for now it's still hanging around this upside support line. So let's see if the bulls can maintain the index above this line. So but for now everything's kind of still is maybe more positive than negative. That said, don't get me wrong, we are we were hitting all-time highs yesterday, so in a way it would be quite interesting to see if it can do the same thing today. If it cannot, maybe we could see that deeper correction. But again, before we could consider that deeper correction, we need a break here below this upside line and below the 28,535 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Brent oil. Now, I've talked about this one this morning, and this is what I was telling you guys, that we needed to see a nice good 4-hour candle close above the 68.40 level, because we did get that spike higher during the Asian morning. But what I was saying, that yes, we needed that 4-hour candle close at least in order to get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. And the next area that we're going to be considering is going to be the 69.65 zone, roughly around there. That's basically the highest point of September, so and of course last year. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on this level here, the 68.40. If the price continues to balance above it, then there is a good chance we could see this one drifting towards the highest point of September. But if suddenly this drops back below the 68.40, now this is where it should become a little bit more cautious. I'm not saying that this is could signal a reversal to the downside. For us, we'll take a very conservative approach here and wait for a drop below the 65.80 zone first before considering a deeper correction, because until then it may drift lower here, but maybe it could find support somewhere around here, maybe even near this little inside swing high here that we had on the 31st of December and near the 66.90 level, and then maybe reverse and push back to the upside. So that's why, guys, all this territory right here for us will be somewhat of a neutral one. And we'll keep an eye on that one. Yep, for us to, in order to consider the downside, we need to wait for a drop below the 65.80. But again, for now, everything's kind of leaning more towards the upside. So let's see if the bulls can maintain the price above this 68.40 territory. So let's keep an eye on that one. Jumping into a few pairs now, AUDUSD. So this is working out perfectly. So I talked about this one in my videos recently, and of course this morning as well. So this is one of the pairs that is quite attractive right now. So a few days ago, I talked about this potential correction to the downside all the way towards the 0.6930 zone, so which we managed to get a perfect hit today. So that's wonderful. We didn't quite reach the upside support line, but in a way there could be still a chance to do so. So for now, we're getting a little bit of a correction here back to the upside, but still this scenario remains the same for us. We are still looking for the upside, especially if it continues to trade above this upside support line. Now, if suddenly this upside line breaks and we see the rate sliding lower here, then yes, we will start considering slightly lower levels here that we saw back in around mid-December. And but for now, guys, everything's kind of still is somewhat positive. Keep your eyes on this upside line. Also keep your eyes on a potential false breakout. So if you're, for example, we see a drop below this upside line, in that case, wait for a daily close, because or should I say, wherever you are, wait for a daily candle, see if it actually manages to close below this. So for now, guys, yep, let's keep an eye on this one. It's very interesting, it's very nice, and very could present itself with a nice opportunity. And as you remember, if you remember from my morning video, I showed you the daily chart. It's basically still trading above the 200-day EMA, so which is still a positive sign. So in a way, this could be a nice reversal sign here, because for throughout the whole 2019, the pair was kind of drifting lower. So maybe this is going to lead to a nice rally here, at least a little bit more to the upside. So let's wait for that one. Let's see how this is going to play out, and yep, keep your eyes on the price action, guys. NZDCAD, now another interesting pair. And by the way, I'm going to stick to the daily chart here, because you can see that yes, we've managed to drift lower. It drifted to the downside, but it's currently getting hold up near the 200-day EMA here on the daily chart. So of course, don't get me wrong, the NZD is strong right now. It is the same as Australian dollar. The only problem here is the Canadian dollar, which is actually slightly on the stronger side than the rest of them. So that's why there is a confusion here. We may see a drift lower, especially if it starts dropping below the low of the 18th of December. So that's why this is going to be our level here that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. So if we do see a drop below the 0.86 15 mark, then well, we'll consider a possible move lower. But if this continues to hold, we may see a nice reversal back to the upside. And from the shorter term perspective, how you could play this one out is keep your eyes, of course, as I said, keep your eyes on this 0.8615 zone, but also what you could do here, and let me just quickly draw this one on the chart. Quickly keep your eyes on, well, not quickly, but keep your eyes on the 0.8710 territory right here, because in a way, looking at this 4-hour chart, if the pair starts drifting higher, this is the barrier where if, let's say, if it overcomes it, this is where it might place the rate above all of its EMAs. So in a way, this is where the more bulls could start joining in and pushing this one back to the highs of December, and near the highest point of December, which is around here near the 0.88 mark. So very good, nice strategic level here. But again, we would need to see a nice good push above the 0.8710 zone first before considering that level here. And let me just actually put an arrow just for our future reference. And this is where this is what we're going to be targeting after we break the, or says if we break the 0.8710 zone. For now, of course, this key area excuse me, this key area of support near the 0.8615 level is closer, so all eyes are on that. If this holds, then yes, we may maybe consider this move a small move back to the upside. But if it starts breaking, well, I mean, there are a bunch of lower levels here to consider. First, of course, the 0.8582 zone, roughly around there. That's the low of the 5th of December. And then, well, we could aim for even lower levels, like the low of the 29th of November near the 0.8515 zone. But again, like I said, let's see how it performs around this territory right here, near this 0.8615 zone. So let's keep an eye on that one, guys. Now then, jumping into GBPNZD very quickly, not going to spend too much time on it because it's still stuck here. I've talked about this one in my previous video that was yesterday in my Trader's Tea Time. I talked about this idea here where basically after it managed to break this little range that we had here between the 1.9412 and the 1.9567, it traveled higher, broke through the upper bound of it, and now basically it is kind of now it's creating somewhat of a new range here for us between the 1.9567 and the 1.9736, roughly around there, guys. So basically we're waiting for a clear breakthrough one of these sides before potentially examining a further short-term directional move, because we're not going to drag this one too much to the upside, neither to the downside. But again, some of the levels that we'll consider, of course, if we see a drop back below the 1.97 and 1.9567, then yep, we will consider the lowest point of December near the 1.9412. But if it travels above the 1.9736, then we'll aim initially for the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. but slightly above that we do have some better levels. But first, let's see how this is going to play out. If it pushes above the 1.9736, then yes, we'll consider these slightly higher levels. And then we'll take it from there, guys, and we'll reevaluate everything at that time. And the last pair for this session is going to be the euro dollar. Now, I talked about this one this morning as well, and basically what I was telling you to keep given the fact that we managed to drop and close a daily chart, or as a daily candle below the 1.1175, this is what I was saying, that it may lead the pair further down to test the 1.1125 zone, which we've managed to do perfectly today, from which it rebounded and is now trying to make its way back to the upside. Again, don't get me wrong, still the downside scenario remains the higher possibility, and what we're going to do here, we're still targeting this upside support line taken from the low of the 29th of November. We would like to see a nice, well, a little bit more maybe recovery, and then another slide lower to test this upside support line and the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So this is still a quite decent possibility. So we're still more bearish than bullish on this one, but only up until this upside line, because from here it will be quite interesting to see if it wants to break this. Then yes, further declines are possible, and then we'll start targeting this upside support line taken from the or should I say now it's a medium-term upside support line taken from the low the 1st of October. Then of course more sellers could be joining in, but again, for now, all eyes are on this shorter term upside support line taken from the low of the 29th of November. Let's see if it actually can hold. If it can, then we may see a nice rebound and a push back to the upside. If by any chance this suddenly starts pushing higher straight away, for us to get excited about the upside, well, we need to see a push back above the 1.1183, and only then we'll consider a possible move back to the 1.1239 or even above that. So keep your eyes on this one. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Just to let you know that there won't be any Traders Espresso nor Tea Time next week, so we will resume on the 13th of January. But I hope you have a great trading week next week, guys. Of course, first, have a wonderful weekend, relax, enjoy your time, get your head cleared, and yep, we'll catch up back on the 13th of January, first in the morning at my Traders Espresso and at 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, guys, thank you for listening and watching, and see you later. Bye bye.